I think we should be good. So welcome everyone to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes Jedi Academy with RSG and our great panel of YouTubers who I'm going to introduce right now. And this is Finn, not Ranger, that is currently streaming to you, as you can probably figure out by now. And that is because we are not sure where exactly Ranger is right now. He is, my guess is that he is recovering from eating of the hot chocolate here. So if you guys didn't see that, we did that on Wednesday as part of the American Cancer Society fundraiser that we did back in April. And Grande and Ranger ate some of the world's hottest chocolate. They ate one square and then decided to go for seconds, which I don't think is the smartest. So let's go ahead and introduce the panel and see if they saw that and what they thought about their nonsense. So let's start out with Mr. Warrior presents first.
Well, howdy doody. And I did not see that crazy chocolate challenge. That makes me sad now.
They are ridiculous. Both of them. Just all kinds of ridiculous.
I don't think I would enjoy that. I'm not sure if they did, but I would not enjoy taking something I enjoy, such as chocolate, and ruining it like that.
I agree. I 100% agree. I would not either. Mike, how about you? Did you see it? And that's Mr. Mike Hunt, by the way.
I haven't seen it. I am going to watch your Wednesday show though later on today. I have experience with Carolina Reaper chilies though. We had a couple, and I have made a chili with it. And I also laughed immensely when Sweary cut the tiny. I mean, you could barely see what she actually cut off of it to try it, and screamed. Yeah,
that's. I kind of want to laugh because I can kind of picture what Sweary's reaction would be, and it feels like there would be a number of expletives kind of flying out of the mouth.
Yeah, she didn't disappoint on that front, definitely.
All right, and then we have Mr. Xylo Takedown, who was on the stream with us at the time.
Hey, what's up, Skewers? What's going on?
All right.
Yeah, I felt bad. Grande, when did you finish the clipped edit video of them?
No, I haven't edited it yet. I'm working on the Good Old Maurice dance video first, and then I'm going to be clipping that.
Weird. Well, when you go back and you watch the replay on either the live stream or the video, you can watch like Grande's eyes, like you see him like as soon as he eats it, his eyes like have like a bunch of levels. Like
Grande turns red. Grande turns beet red. And both times that he eats it. It's both times. It's not just the one. So it's actually quite impressive how red he turned. I thought Ranger was going to turn more red than he did, actually. So
yeah, they did pretty well, though.
They did. So with that, welcome again, guys, to Jedi Academy, where for about 2 hours we answer your guys' Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes questions. And whatever questions you guys have, make sure that you type them in the chat and put that you are asking. Where did that happen? There we go. I think that's something got a little messy there. Okay. So, if you guys have questions, make sure that you do type question in the chat when you're asking your question. That way Nightbot picks it up because I'm going to be grabbing all of the questions here. So start out with question and ask any of the questions that you want. We're going to go ahead and start queuing them up. And in the meantime, let's talk about some of the stuff that happened in the past week, because I know that that's probably what a lot of people are asking about. So I'm going to start with Warrior, because I know Warrior, you have been talking about Geos for a while, primarily from the ship front, but now they got a whole new rework in the characters. So what do you think about the new Geo character reworks?
Well, first off, I feel like a total victor because I told everybody who was free to play that they should farm the Geos strictly for ship because they're easy to gear for the most part, and they're easy to farm. Their ships and their characters are so easy to get out of the easiest store in the game, which is Galactic War. And they are also in ships shipments, which you can get with ships. And if you focus on ships, that's sometimes an easier avenue than regular arena. So it gives free to players a little more hope kind of thing for crystals. And in that, I pursued that on my free to play account. And the one thing as we were playing, Grand Arena that I always I thought this just sucks, is my 3 top characters for a long time. Like the only characters in Gear 11 other than my arena team was these 3 Geos. And it's like, what am I going to do? I had to use them on offense because they're not a good defense. And I was trying to use them on offense and they weren't that good. Spy was the only like shining hope in the past, but, they get these reworks, they get a new leader, and all of a sudden now this trash that I leveled up for ships is now, a extremely viable team that can genuinely really only be beat by a handful of teams if modded correctly and leveled up correctly. There's only, 6 different comps that can beat it, which again, that may seem like a lot, but when you're talking about 3 of those 6 comps normally get put on defense, there's not a lot, and somebody else could burn those other comps attacking other teams. So all of a sudden now there's a possibility that they're going to expend what they're looking for as a counter. So I'm excited to have a team that can be used in territory wars and territory battles, can be used, not just for ships, but also for regular arena type stuff, regular PvP type stuff. So pretty excited about them actually coming around. I feel like it's a strong rework. It's kind of like what they did with the clones. It's interesting. They have taken a couple of teams that were not in viability and basically gave them one leader, and then through that leadership, Shock T for the clones and the Geo Brood Alpha for the Geos, and all of a sudden their team goes from being meh to wow, that's really amazing. Clones, if Shock T's over 300 speed, is a very, very, very difficult team to beat as well. So that's a good team as well. The last thing on the Geo front, though, that was interesting this week was the fact that they had an unintended interaction between the Jawas and the Geos, and they were like, that's a reason for everybody to spend money on the Jawas. I think we're going to leave that interaction, but it's not the same. It is a bug. So we're going to have to rewrite between the Jawas and the Geos unique to basically match that what's actually happening. So that way it's accurate. And so it's no longer a bug in that sense. And so what happens is you actually get any team. For example, this actually works against General Grievous's team. I've tried it. It works well. I killed 3 of a General Grievous team that was, the whole team was Gear 13. And I'm just like, there's nothing. I have nothing. I'm screwed. So I just took them in, and it blew up 3 of the General Grievous team, which was awesome because B1, B2, and Magna Guard were gone. And so I was really excited about that. It just left me with a cleanup, which was pretty easy. It's good against Shock T and clones. It's good against the Geos. Any team that's going to have those like stupid amounts of team, assists, Imperial Troopers, things like that. It works pretty darn well with. So the bugs it works the best against, but it's interesting that they're like, meh, that's a crappy interaction, but it's something that gives them purpose, and the Jawas currently have no purpose. So it gives people a reason to spend money, and I think they are happy with that. So that's why they're choosing to just rewrite the description.
And don't worry, Nick Merck, I'm not gonna rant again. This isn't about me. I'm gonna get the information from all of the panel. But as a little side note, so if you didn't hear, I've been kind of a little bit upset about their reaction to this. I understand they're trying to make the Jawas useful. I wasn't happy with it. It's a bug. We're going to make it the reality type thing now. But even with the new wording, by the way, I've been like watching videos and like taking screenshots and like going frame by frame looking at it. It is still bugged based on the current description because it is not applying 50% of the time. It's applying 100% of the time on the detonators. On the Geos anyways. I don't know about the other teams, but I watched some videos and they were supposed to stack 9 detonators based on the new with a 50% chance of having it. Every single one was trying to stack 9 and they had like resist that reduced it, and that was it. So I don't think it's still working exactly as it's written. You might be getting 100% chance on some of these, which is actually pretty interesting. So I won't rant. I promise I won't rant anymore. But Mike, what do you think about the about both of them, the Geo reworks and about what they're doing with the Jawas.
Okay, so Geo reworks, really like. Managed to get my first watch shards yesterday. Was it yesterday? Day before? Can't remember. Whichever day the watch shards came out, I got them. I've also used the Geos in yesterday's Grand Arena Championship as a cleanup squad. My opponent put out a Gear 13 Jedi Knight Revan squad, and I managed to take Revan out, and that was it. First time round, and I threw the Geos in as a cleanup, and talk about gone in 60 seconds. That was just, yeah, that was fun. I like it. I like the fact that they've kind of breathed some life into the Geos, where we've all been wondering, where do we, what do we do with them? I mean, certain to, other than ships, they really didn't. Where do we, what do we do with purpose? I mean, even Sunfac, who has been a meta character in Arena, but I'm going way back. I think I'm going back before mods and level increases and all sorts. Sunfac was one of the meta tunes then. It's nice that they're coming back. It's not so nice that they need an awful lot of gear, really, to get them to a point where they really are viable in the Geo raid. But it is what it is. And as far as the Jawas, I'm really divided. On one side, I see this is a kind of reward. I'm seeing a lot of chatter about, well, who even has developed Jawas. The answer to that is anyone that was was gaming and had been gaming for quite a while when Heroic Tank was released. And when the hat was released, it was kind of maybe not quite as difficult as GOTB, but it was close to it. I mean, we really struggled. It was a full guild effort to get through each stage. And a lot of guilds couldn't even complete. It's slightly different, isn't it? But I know. Sorry, it's a raid against the territory battle, but it's a reward as such for all the established players that have developed their Jawas and have watched them gather a ton of dust ever since. I mean, every once in a blue moon, somebody will resurrect them. I know that Urs played around recently with Jawa Engineer. Ranger, of course, that famous killing of Revan. I still think thermal detonators are going to have a really big part to play at some point within metas. I mean, we could argue that they have immediately with this, but yeah, it's we're aware of the bug, but we can't be asked to fix it. So we're going to leave it, and we think it's fun. Is awful. Whoever signed off for that to be published really needs to think about what they're actually putting out to the community and the kind of the message that sends to us all.
I agree, so I'm not gonna go ranting again.
Nah.
You're like trying to get me to rant. I feel it. I'm not going to. Xylo, you take over now. What do you think before I go off?
Yeah, I mean, like we kind of beat the snap out of that horse yesterday, right? I agree with the biased opinion. It's not something that if you're gonna fix a bug, fix the bug. If you're gonna admit there's a bug and you're not gonna fix it, that's kind of contradicting to all the other times that you've had to rework something because it wasn't an interaction as intended, right? So, I mean, it's not right. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna rework things, if you're gonna fix bugs, if you're gonna fine tune things, just be consistent at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. All right, so we have a lot of questions that have come in. So bear with me as I'm collecting all of them, but we'll start going around the corner. So Warrior, are you ready for your first question?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we have a question from Apropos Win, and he says, question, both of my accounts are having to decide between droids and geos for gear. One is for Wat Tambor and one is for Padme. Both rosters support a Padme team. How should I choose?
Read it one more time. I'm going to analyze that again. That's
Okay.
a tough question.
Yeah. So his question is, both of my accounts are having to decide between droids and geos for gear. One is for Wat and one is for Padme. Both rosters support a Padme team. How should I choose?
I would say Padme at this point. Watt is going to be that character that everybody is going to have, and he's going to make he'll be one of the singular best plug and play characters in the entire game once he's able to, be 7-starred and stuff. What he'll be able to do in the raids is going to be crazy, I think, as well. He's very, very amazing, giving three uniques out to 3 different players on your team, and each unique is totally overpowered, almost legendary status. But Padme is in the top 3 best teams in the history of this game, and is just a phenomenal character and team. So I think that's the route I would go towards that.
There you go. And once again, for you guys, we are on YouTube as well as Facebook. So please make sure that you guys, if you're there, if you have questions, make sure you post them there as well. Let's go to, Mike, are you ready for your question?
I am ready.
All right. So, question from Dr. Feelgood. So, who should I gear 13 first? Jedi Knight Revan as a leader or Grandmaster Yoda for the sheer damage?
Ooh. I must admit, I'm a bit underwhelmed with Grandmaster Yoda's finishing piece. Out of the 2, if I had to, I'm not really overwhelmed by Jedi Knight Revan's either, to be perfectly honest. But out of the 2, I would have to plumb for Jedi Knight Revan. And then it's a case of looking at it and seeing how that changes any dynamics of your squad. I know that there are loads of different kind of thoughts on how to run. I mean, the Jedi Knight Revan now is a counter to Darth Revan, so it's how that's gonna work with your speeds and tuning and everything. But out of the 2, personally, I did look at Grandmaster Yoda. I've opted so far not to do Jedi Knight Revan either. I've gone more the Galactic Republic route, but yeah, out of those 2, Jedi Knight Revan, El Hudio.
Yeah, I think Grandmaster Yoda doesn't get a lot of actual offensive stats from it, so it is kind of interesting. A speed Grandmaster Yoda actually does gain a lot, but if you're going sheer damage, yeah, I think you're right. We have a Ranger sighting. Ranger. Is Ranger here? Kinda? Maybe? I think so. Okay, Ranger's on mute. So let us... Xylo, are you ready for your question?
Yeah.
All right. So question from What Else 73. He says, my next opponent will have a full Gear 13 Revan Malak team, the only Malak, or Gear 13 anything in my group. I have the only other viable Darth Revan, no Malak. Any recommendations for my strategy?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a gear check you're worried about, then I mean, I'd recommend doing what we did yesterday on Rangers Grand Arena stream. I mean, when it comes down to a gear check, especially with the Sith Empire, your counters aren't as valuable. So I think sending in a trash team to absorb the the initial burst of special abilities from your Darth Revan team, especially if they got Malak on there, like Malak Saber, or I'm sorry, Marauder saber throw is disgusting and can one shot just about anything, either on the Darth Revan or the Jedi Knight Revan team or the Padme team. So just send something in that's gonna take enough damage to where it'll absorb the majority of primary specials, and then go in there with your hard counter. And then the Galactic Republic team, especially if you have the turn order right, I mean, it can still leave you, with them left over with just Malik, and you can go in there and clean up with something against Malik too. So
makes sense to me. All right, Mr. Warrior, next question for you. The question from What Else 73, and his question is: at what point does a secondary base defense number, not percentage, get to be a quote-unquote wow number? Is it plus 20? Is it plus 25? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, anything over 20, because so a lot of people don't understand like the averages of mods or what's the good. So like if you're looking at potency, what's a good potency percent? So it's like 2% per roll kind of thing. Well, with defense, it's about 8, just a flat 8, which is terrible. But that's the base approximation. I mean, you can get some less and some more. I've seen 6 and 7 and 9, but 8's about average. Getting any stat 3 or more times is puts it into phenomenal mod mode. So once you hit that 20 to 30, you're going to be around 24 to 25 with 3 rolls. It puts it into a really solid, great mod stat, and you can get it, over 40 if you have it roll 5 times and you roll to succeed. I think a 48 was the highest I've seen at a 5e, and 48 is almost 50. I mean, 50 defense, a flat 50 is that's a god mod. That really is. So anything over 20 of those is absolutely solid.
All right, and I hear a ranger now.
I'm here.
Welcome, Ranger.
Stupid power outage.
His rear end is burning. You gotta forgive him.
God damn it! I like you ever. It's the worst feeling in the world. Like you set your alarm, you do everything you're supposed to do. You eat your vitamins, you say your prayers to whatever, and then you wake up. You're like, oh, I must have woken up before everything. I'm doing great. And then you look at the time like, shit.
Well, it's a good thing that I managed to at least get this started. It was yeah, I don't have any of the graphics and stuff loaded on the new computer, so I kind of had to improvise.
That's all right. I can take over. Let me get everything set up.
All right. Oh, we'll keep going here. So yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Ranger, we were speculating that you were going to come on and tell us, with the dole of where the chili touched you.
The chili?
Your chocolate.
Oh, God damn it, Mike. You and your English crap, I swear, man.
Yeah, show us on the dole where the chili touched you.
Well, chili is not an English thing, Ranger. He's not using chili as a term for chocolate.
Of Mr. Potato Head Mike over there, just like where the chili touched you. Like, I'm thinking, chili?
Who is Chili and why is he touching Ranger?
What the hell? The Chili Willy from that.
I love that Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah.
I love Chili
Willy. Yeah.
I have a little stuffed aminal of him somewhere. I need to find it. I'm sure that's not surprising to anyone.
Sense. Yes,
that's not surprising to anyone. I'm aware.
Yeah, that's actually horrifying.
All right, so while Ranger is getting set up, Mike, are you ready for your question?
I is.
All right, so the question is from Sean Ragnar the Red Kelly, and he says, first, thank you, RSG, for my roster review. We did his roster review, I think, either early this week or last week. So, and his question is, so what Tambor is the unlock for the dark side Geos? Any guesses who it will be when we flip to light side? By the way, I finished 3rd in Heroic Sith, Ranger.
Who did?
Sean Ragnar the Red Kelly.
Oh, I thought you said you were. I'm like, you better not be stepping all over Sean. This is his time.
No. He says, by the way, I finished 3rd in Heroic Sith, Ranger.
That's right.
So, very nice job. So, the question again, Mike. So, Wat Tambor is the unlock for dark side Geos. Any guesses who it will be when we flip to light side?
Ooh. Who? Okay. I'm gonna hazard a guess and say Padawan Anakin. I'm just thinking about what we're seeing in the GOTB on the light side that we're facing. Either Padawan Annie, or one of the main clones.
Pons?
Would be my guess.
Like Pons?
Yeah, Pons, or that god-awful one that throws the grenades.
Oh, that's the ARC Trooper, right? I think that's the ARC Trooper.
Yeah. Although that's too generic, isn't it? It's going to be someone with a name, isn't it? That's why I was thinking Padawan Anakin would be a good fit. But that,
I think the only named clone is Pons, right? Because everything else is like the sharpshooter, the medic, the ARC Trooper, lieutenant. Like there's different clones.
Yeah,
but I think except for
lieutenant,
Pons,
commander. Yeah, Pons is the only name.
I think there's the janitor, the lunch server, the.
There's the hate you more, hate you even more. Please stop hitting and killing my tunes.
There's a lot of Jedi,
that's how
though.
I named them.
There are a lot of named Jedi, though.
There are.
Monday.
Who?
Kaya Monday. You know the Jedi.
Oh yes.
Oh, for God's sakes!
I have to. Yes. You have to speak
Mr.
to Mike in
Conehead.
that language. Yep. Mr. Conehead.
Yes.
So you got to speak into the language of Mike. It's not British, and it's not English. It's just Mike. We have to translate to Mike, as Mike used to translate for Turbo for us.
He has to adjust to us, not the other way around.
Thank you. I will understand a lot more of the questions now.
All right. Let me ask one more question, and then Ranger, if you're ready, we'll switch out to this one.
Now. If you're ready to switch, I can switch right now.
Okay. All right. So if you're ready, you can go ahead and... are you ready, Ranger? So we're going to switch here, so there might be a quick...
Do I need to do restream real quick?
Restream is all set, so as long as you're streaming to it, we're good.
Okay.
So if you guys are, hold on, for those of you guys in Facebook and YouTube, we're going to switch here. Ranger's going to take over the stream. Might be a quick second of buffering, but then we'll be back. So I am dropping.
Do you have restream on?
Yeah, everything is good.
I don't see the one selected. You must have already selected, but I can't see it. Okay.
I selected everything, yeah.
Okay, we should be good. Okay, haha, like that. Haha! Haha! It's a science. Okay, give me a second here. Okay. Everything should be good. Yes, I think we're good. Yes, it looks good. Sounds good. Is good. Pure. It's pure. All right. I have no idea where we are with the questions or anything, Finn. So
I'll ask the next question.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. What else 73 for Xylo? So Xylo, question to you from What Else 73, and he says, do you think they're leaving Jawas as is because so many people are spending resources and money on leveling them up to counter Geos, since this counter is their normal precedent?
Well, I mean, it's not normal. Like Warrior mentioned, there's multiple counters. It's just the majority of them you put down is something so valuable you put down on defense, for one, and for two.
Well, really quick, sorry, I misread the end of that question, so let me just
clarify.
Yeah. So the question is again, do you think they're leaving Jawas as is because so many people are spending resources and money on leveling them up to counter Geos? And then the last part is, since this is counter to their normal precedent. So that part is referring to CG.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, it's consistency that we're a little jived about, right? I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, and I mean, if you're going to do nesting dolls, then come forward and say that this has a nesting doll purpose ahead of time, as opposed to, like, you know, the Jawas, this is something that just fell into their lap, right? I mean, like, a player tested it, it worked. It's not a hard counter, so it's not something that's destroying the new product from a competitive level, because, I mean, like I mentioned in Ranger's Grand Arena stream, like, I'm putting my Geos down on defense and hoping that they throw the Jawas down, because it's doing nothing but benefiting my strategy and getting them less banners and everything like that too, unless they have like year 12, year 13 Jawas, which not many players do, I'm assuming. And I mean, like, even if they are gearing them up that high, I mean, like, good on you, CG. I mean, like, you found a good way to make a couple extra bucks, but at the end of the day, it's just, I mean, if people are going to spend money on Jawas, they're going to spend money on just about anything in the game, anyways. So you can't defer people from wanting to spend, and you can't incentivize it either. So I mean, it's just something that somebody's going to want to do as a personal thing, if they haven't already, right? I think that it's like we talked about it in the lunch stream yesterday too. It's not like they're making thousands of dollars off of people whaling on Jawas. Like, how many people are whaling on Jawas right now? Not too many. So they're making a couple bucks, and they like it because it's fun and it's unique and all that kind of jive. But I mean, like, I think that they locked thermal detonators for a reason, and like Mike mentioned earlier, like, yeah, we just have to kind of hope that they have more of a purpose, or, you know what I mean, like later on down the road that thermals will be more valuable aside from just the Jawas, right? So that's my 2 cents of it all, anyways.
All right. So next question is for Warrior. Question is from Darth Scion 1972, and the question starts off with, "Thanks for mentioning on Wednesday night the CG Crumb post going around is fake." So if you guys haven't seen it, there's a post going around about supposedly Crumb talking about Malik, and it's not real. So with that though, the question for you is, when do you expect Malik to be back? I need him for TV Platoon.
So I think that they're going 6 months. They've gone over 4. So they're only 2 months shy of it being 6 months. And before everybody like gasped, because that's insane.
Oh no, it ain't.
This is the issue. They made ultra rare events 6 months at the beginning, and then they brought out some really powerful characters, such as Revan, and it really caught a lot of people off guard. There was a lot of like, freak farming happening to try to get him the first time around, and a lot of people were kind of angered that it was like popped on them, surprised, and then it was so overpowered that you couldn't even compete without Revan. And so they broke with their traditional 6-month thing for the ultra rare event, and went and brought him back like 3 months later. And basically almost every character now that's come out has had those events come back every 3 months. They've put them all on cycles to about every 3 months, and so people have kind of just come to expect anything that comes out, the next time it comes out is 3 months afterwards. It's cyclic in that nature. But I think that they want Malik to be kind of like their original intent from back in the day. I mean, I remember missing Yoda and having to wait 6 months, for Yoda. That's just, it is what it is. It's a long, long time to wait in this game. And I think it actually, for the game health, it does a disservice to the game itself, because we're not at a beginning of a game. When I first started, the game was new and fresh. I would wait 6 months. You know what I mean? Because and the character wasn't so overpowered that if you had it, you were in the top 20, and if you didn't have it, you couldn't compete. That wasn't the way it was. So the 6 month wait wasn't as big a deal. Now it's such a make or break character. I mean, if you have Malik on defense and the other person doesn't, it's an almost guaranteed victory unless they are super smart and have basically a very expansive roster and know the counter to Malik. But if you have speeds right and stuff, it's even then still a really, really difficult team. So it's not healthy for the game at this point in the game to have it go 6 months, or any event go for 6 months, because people waiting 6 months will quit. There's a lot of people that will do that. But I mean, from the standpoint of why they're doing it, that's kind of the original intent of ultra rare events, was to come, once every 6 months, and then eventually, after it's been out twice, wrap it down into a 3 month cycle. But so I know why they're doing it. I don't think it's healthy for the game. I think as a selfish player, like if I want to be selfish about it, I'm happy, because there's a lot of people on my leaderboard that don't have Malik right now, and it just makes Arena easier for me, and I was prepared the first time around. So it did give me as a whale an advantage, and I think that was kind of the whole point, was we're going to reward those who are willing to spend. So for me, selfishly, I'm happy that it's not floating around already. But when it's coming back, I think it'll be the 6 month mark. I think we've got another, probably 6 weeks before they notify us that he's coming back, and then we'll see him probably a week or two after that.
That's crazy, Warrior. Well, wasn't if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Grandmaster Yoda 6 months?
He was wasn't he? First of all,
Yoda was 6 months, and so was Emperor Palpatine. In fact, when I started, it was in June, and Emperor Palpatine was either in June or July. And I remember going, "Oh, he's a brand new cool character," but I didn't have any characters for him, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to miss him." And then he didn't come back until December. And I get him in December of that first year of gameplay for me, and so because I missed him that first time, and so I played for almost a year before I got Emperor Palpatine. And I remember if you had him, you could really chew through some stuff. If you didn't have him, you couldn't. But Emperor Palpatine wasn't as good back then as he is now either.
That's true.
I mean, I have to. You're mentioning the arena part. I'm going to tell you right now, at least from like I mentioned it before. I like the team aspect a lot more in this game than anything, and it's the most frustrating thing because we're a 205 million GP guild. We have only 9 Malaks, and in Phase 4 of GOTB, you really need to disable both of those platoons. And we have a bunch of people just waiting for Malak to come back so we can actually fill up all of these platoons. Like, we're willing to sacrifice our Darth Revans and Malaks for this. We just don't have the Malaks in the guild, and it's frustrating right now. Knowing that we can do better if we were able to fill up these platoons. So there's a frustration even outside of arena right now that's setting in as it relates to GOTP.
I'm wondering about the recent updates, the fact that for a limited period you can farm Gear 13 finisher pieces, and everything's farmable. A lot of the frustration in the community at the moment is the fact of so many players that have everything to unlock Darth Malak and have all the gear ready to take him immediately to 11 and 12 plus, or even 13 once they've farmed the shards. And of course they've been hoarding all the get store tokens ready to take him to 7-star as soon as. So it's kind of, I don't know whether they know how they've planned everything out, and I'm sure that spending has gone through the roof in the past few weeks.
Oh yes,
quite possible.
I remember when Malak first came around, I was like, Finn, you need to get Malak. And Finn was like, no. I'm like, you're going to need him. And then he struck me violently. And then I was like, what? Why are you hitting me? Finn, what are you trying to prove? But then he disappeared. So then I had to go after and chase him. And then I caught him. And then I had to Loki smash him. But then before I could really hurt him, he had a little kitty, a little baby kitty, and showed it to me. And I was all sad and stuff. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. So, CG, you want to say Finn? We gotta get
no one believes a word of what you said because I'm literally hugging a stuffed porg right now. No one's gonna believe you whatsoever.
Oh, a cute little kitty. I think you would hold the kitty. Finn.
I would hold the kitty. There's no way I'm beating anyone.
No. I said you struck me violently. I didn't say you beat me.
Yeah, see, no one would think that I struck anyone.
Oh, you're human.
I'm hugging a plush porg right now. There's no way I strike anyone.
Okay, God.
Oh, sorry. I had another thought on the Jawas.
Do we really want to talk about the Jawas? I hate those little bastards.
The thought I had about why they're not fixing it is, if there is, and we're assuming there's going to be a light side version of the GOTB, where we're all going to face Geonosian squads. And if we can throw in 5 Jawas and clear, happy days.
Well,
so maybe that's why they aren't fixing.
Maybe, but here's the problem, right? A lot of times it depends on how strong they are, because right now they have like a 10 level increase on us, right? And even Gear 13 Jawas have a hard time surviving against those Geos for like the entire battle. If the Geos end up in the first wave of a 4-wave battle and you throw in Jawas and the Jawas take them out, and then they go into the next round and they don't have Scavenger, you're screwed.
All right, Finn, who is the next question? I will take over reading the questions and stuff.
The next question is for Warrior, and we're at Hadriel Jeffberg's question.
Okay, gotcha. Finn can drink some coffee and take a little break here.
Well, so I'm glad you joined, because I do have to go somewhere with.
I figured.
Dad, who's having some teeth issues. So.
Oh, the teethy issues. Well, just tell the doctor to give him the lobotomy like ordered, and then his teeth should be fine. Wait a minute. That's not
nice.
dental stuff.
I hate the dentist.
I know, right? That's why I said you probably might want to give him the lobotomy. That's the drilling and pulling and just, oh God, it's awful.
It's funny too. Did you see the guild message that they
It's not.
put in the chat?
No, what?
It was the comment Mobile made in his stream yesterday about him going to the dentist, and he was at the dentist for like 4 hours. So it's kind of ironic that kind of trickled into today too.
It's not serious teethy issues, Finn, is it?
Nope.
Okay, good. We don't want Finn's father having serious teethy issues.
Just to check him out.
Make sure he brushes and flosses every day, Finn.
All right.
All right,
Is
good.
it supposed to be the other way around? Is the parent supposed to make the child?
No, Finn's the doctor. He's the respectable one. He's got to do all that crap.
It ends up the other way as everyone gets older.
Yeah, it really does.
Adult diaperoos are there for a reason.
That's right. They're not just a product for Ranger, they're for everyone. All right, so we are on that question. So what's the order for questions, Finn, just so I know?
Warrior, Mike, and Xylo.
Warrior, Mike, and Xylo. Who got the last one?
Xylo.
Okay, so we're back up to our man, Scissorman Warrior. Cool, got it. All right, let me see here.
Hold on. Wait, did I give that one to Xylo? No, I think I just gave that one to Warrior. Yeah, we just finished Warrior, so we're on Mike. Sorry, we're on Mike. I asked Warrior about the Malik return. So yes, we're on Mike for Hadriel Jetberg.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Michael W. Huntington III of Her Royal Majesty's Gaming Service. Hadriel says, question, would the light side Malik event be possible with Gear 12, Triple Zeta Jedi Knight Revan, Mission Zalbar, and Gear 11 Basti and Zeta Jolie? I'm trying to prioritize my gear between my current Darth Revan squad arena and having enough to unlock Malik. What do you think, Mikey?
Whoa, that was a lot in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both can speak on this. The Malik event is, as long as you have 16.5, it's the mechanic.
Yeah, it's...
The light side part.
No, you're right. It is the light side part is the royal pitter, and it's timing, killing. So basically, trying not to hit Malik, killing the droids, and then taking out the test tube Jedi to whittle him down, whilst applying shred through Zalbar onto Malik every time that appears. Yeah, it really is the mechanics on there. Zeta-wise, you want the Zeta on mission. You could probably benefit as well with Zalbars. And you're kind of just going to be making sure that the rest of them are sturdy enough to withstand everything. And just try and keep Zalbar as clean as possible. Yeah, that would... It's a mechanic. It's the strategy side of things that dictates.
Yeah, it's getting to that last part with those as many armor shreds as you can, 3 or more, and you pretty much got it. But if not, then
rubber armor your phone or iPad before you start, because it is going to fly. Trust me, it is going to fly.
Well, and then one more thing I wanted to throw in there too: if you can't get enough like help and protection and survivability on Zalbar, or like you don't have the Zeta on Zalbar, I ran a really fast Zalbar at Gear 12. I just gave him my fastest speed mods, and him going as much as possible and getting that armor shred off as many times as possible while he's assisting with missions too. You know what I mean? Like missions going over and over again, that armor shred building up. It's really fun.
All right. Next question to Xylo, Stoner Jedi. Father of my apprentice. He has no other meaning for me other than that. Sith Lord 72, question. Is Alpha Brood in the Geos better for offense or defense for GAC and TW? Thank you all from Sith Lord 72.
Well, Sith Lord, that is a great question, and I really like the value of them on defense, but you also have to be getting your feats done too. Like Mike mentioned in one of the previous lunch streams, they have the Separatist Fist, I believe it's called, the feat. You have to kill 24 enemies with your Separatist characters or ships, which is hinting at ships down the road for Grand Arena coming back sooner or later. And I think you want to be saving your GG team or your makeshift droid Separatist team and your geos for offense to just get those feats done. And potentially, if there's more layers to that Separatist Fist, for example, like when you do the first 5 battles of the undersized squads, it upgrades to 8 after that. So maybe potentially there's more of that feat or more layers to that feat. So I like the idea of them on defense again, because there's only so many counters and there's a lot of top tier counters for the Geos. And then the Grievous team is always, especially after the rework, the fact that they stealth at the beginning of the encounter and you can't just mark Grievous right away. Like, they can turn around and one-shot your Jedi Knight Revan teams with the right mods and the right build or team comp. So, I mean, right now, since, Grand Arena is so evolving, I say get your feats done and then going to put them on defense, or save your Grievous team for offense, put your Geos down on defense, and then find a revive mechanic team like the Night Sisters or the Ewoks or Rogue One, and try to use your Separatist teams to get those kills and go against a team with revives. So even even lower geared Jedi Knight Revan team with Jolie on there, you can keep spamming, killing using the AoEs to kill pieces and letting Jolie revive the team and get the kills that way too.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what we used for against the Geos yesterday. I think we went undersized to somebody. GR? No.
Yeah, we had the Padme team without a fifth.
Yeah,
so they just raffle stomped them. Yeah.
Yeah, the Padme team just was like, oh Geos, no, oh yeah, Geos, no.
Like they had them all gear 11 and a few of them gear 12, but they only had the one Zeta, and it was definitely a gear check, right?
Yeah, my Padme team was like better. So, but all right. Back up top to Warrior. Gav P has a question, Warrior. He says, question. Did the Malik event ever take place? Did CG do that Men in Black flashy thing on all of us, put a few Maliks in the accounts of some people, and then left us on our merry way? Hashtag conspiracy. Oh my god.
Hashtag that's a question for after 9:30, but I'll take it.
I'm gonna get you another one, but I thought it was funny to get a response.
So 8 hours of my life says that it was not a conspiracy theory.
Put on your aluminum cap, Warrior. What do you think?
8 hours of my account playing to figure out all the mechanics of the event and the modding of the event, and then my brother visited and he was like, "I need help." And so we played for another hour. We played for another hour on his, and he was like, "Well, that wasn't that bad. It was only an hour, man."
I know.
I'm like, you have no idea what I had to do to learn what I learned. Oh, my young apprentice, you do not know.
I just remember Arnold.
Show him on the doll.
You remember Arnold's video? I thought he won like the Super Bowl when he reacted. I've never seen Arnold so animated. Before that, you just saw his face. It was like he lost The Price is Right, the new car, every time. He was like, God dang, man. And then when he won, he was so happy. I thought he was going to cry. It was so great. All right. That was a fun question. This one from Daniel McCracken. Question, what is the current best Separatist squad to unlock Padme, and what gear would you recommend you target to get her to 7 stars? Warrior. Did we lose?
Sorry, I thought I was moving on to the next question. So say that again.
Yeah. No, that's the next question. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Warrior.
I wanted to give you a real question.
Yeah, that was not the conspiracy question. I said I was even doing that. I was like, this is a fun one. I wanted you to put in your aluminum foil hat. From Daniel McCracken, question: what is the current best Separatist squad to unlock Padme? And what gear would you recommend we target to get her to 7 stars?
So, at a minimum, gear 11 with your best mods, but if they're gear 11, you can't put 60 mods. So preferably gear 12, so you can use your 60 mods, because your best mods should in theory be your 60 mods. So gear 11 minimum, gear 12 preferred, and the best team remains to be seen. Newt is going to be a key player because you don't even need his Zeta, but because of his rework with Extortion is going to help out drastically. The Zeta is going to allow all your Separatists to do additional damage, which is a big deal as well. So Newt, I think, is going to find his happy home in there if people have him. Asajj is one of those characters where she can ramp up damage. She can also stun, not consistently, but she can stun on her basic, and that's important for control, for, events such as this. And then Dooku can go, stealth, and you don't need his Zeta, but if you do have it, you make him as durable as the Padme team. And he gets to attack multiple times with ability block and stun himself and stuff. So he's a solid, if you're making a hodgepodge team up. Obviously, my suggestion is that you just have General Grievous Gear 13 and then not worry about it. That's it. Just get General Grievous Gear 13. Just one character, Gear 13. Just focus on one character. That's it. One character, Gear 13. And then have all your other characters, Gear 9, 10, 11, whatever you can get them to. Throw some okay mods on them, but have General Grievous totally pimped out with 120,000 health. Have him Gear 13. He's the only one you need to worry about. And every single time their team kills one of yours, which they will do very quickly, he's going to take that additional turn with ramping offense. And by the end of it, he'll be just one-shotting everybody. And that's going to be how I think a lot of people are going to get through that event. It's kind of like Boss for Bounty Hunters. If you have Bounty Hunters Gear 9, but you have Boss get Gear 12 with double Zetas, you can beat that event with Gear 9 event characters. I did it. So it's possible. I think with that team, you'll be able to have like a Gear 9 team, Separatists, 7-star Gear 9, but a Gear 13 General Grievous. It's kind of weird how just one gear level up all of a sudden makes a team go from having, from needing 5 viable characters to just needing 1. So that's kind of the power for that event, General Grievous, and I'm excited to see someone with a Gear 13 General Grievous do that event, just to see how successful they're going to be. But my General Grievous was hitting for, before Gear 13, was hitting for, 10 to 20,000. It just wasn't enough to get even through the bonus protection. But if he's hitting for 140 to 180,000 on a crit, that's going to be enough to just decimate that team after a couple of AoEs. So
yeah,
that's my thought.
Yeah, I remember you telling me too that after the Padme event had finished up, that Droideka, from what you've been hearing and what I've been hearing from Wells, was that was a key component, because they were like, why is everyone saying this is so hard? Well, they had Gear 12 Droidekas. So that seemed to be the MVP.
Everyone that told me the event was easy, I looked back and I didn't. That was the only one I didn't have was Droideka 7 stars. The event happened so fast after those characters were farmable. I luckily got B1 up in time, but B1 is the worst. Don't take anybody, especially the bugs. Do not take the bugs in. You will not make a dent with the Geo bugs, because every out of turn attack they get bonus protection. They're gonna be stronger after they slaughter your team than weaker. So the bugs are definitely out. B1 is definitely out, but Droideka can go insane mode and get his invincibility, and then every time he gets hit, he gets stacks, and all of a sudden he takes a turn and pow, just one character's dead. And he just does this over and over and over, and he can slowly one-shot every single character on the other side. So there's that. And then Magna Guard is a really just surprisingly simple yet effective kit. And they've added now stealth to it, and which wasn't available back then as well. So I think you're going to see that there's going to be a lot more compositions that are viable than just the General Grievous droids with Droideka that was the past on the event.
Right. Okay. Next question for Mikey. Let me get the questions here. Oh, I lost where I was at. Okay, give me a second.
I won my battle with the mute button.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay. Jorge Calvacante said, question, my game is crashing a lot. A lot! Exclamation point. Specifically when I go into TB, are you aware of any new problem? Is there anything I can do to minimize this problem?
My initial suggestion would be wait an hour. I
Is it
think that chances are you're going in when nearly everybody is going in, and we all experience it. It basically it's a bottleneck, isn't it? You've got virtually the entire player base all trying to access the game at the same time, and the hamster running that all is getting tired.
I wasn't aware of that being an issue. I don't know. Anybody else here on the panel having that kind of problem at certain times or anything? I haven't experienced that issue, so
we've had that many times. So like
well, that one day, we did, but
yeah, but I mean, that would be initially. I would experiment with that. If it's just the fact that you're really keen, and hats off to you, that's great because you're getting in, you're doing your platoons and everything. But so many people are doing that I think that would be the cause. And also, where are you? So like if you're in stateside, then you've got a very high player base, all accessing.
So I think you're going to see this getting worse and worse as we go on, and part of it is they just recently did the most recent update to the game, like a massive update, was not too long off. It was just when Gear 13 rolled out and everything. They then also released a post that said we're not supporting all of these older devices. That's a red flag to even newer devices, because the older devices, what they're saying is you can't even play the game anymore, and then newer devices are going to get laggier and harder to play. I have a friend with an iPhone 6s or whatever. It's not a bad phone. It's a decent phone. He's having severe issues with his game now after that update. So I told him, you're going to have to get a new phone. So for the game and the sake of the game, he spent $1,000 on a new phone. So it's crazy. But I think that as the game progresses and it gets more complex and larger, they're going to have to continue to kill the old games, because those old games don't have the rendering and processing power that some of the newer games have. And the only people that are going to be able to do it consistently without those issues are the people who, ride those newest devices. Those new devices, I've got an S10, there's no issues whatsoever, ever. Except for I get that internet connectivity issue when I don't have bad internet. I don't know what's up with that. I get that from time to time. So I don't know.
Something to keep an eye out for. All right, next question for you, Xylo. Nathaniel Morgan says, question, Gear 13 order for the Night Sisters. He who is Xylo.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing the Night Sisters for, right? I mean, let's use the Sith raid for a caveat for that, I guess. So I'd go Asajj lead, Asajj unique, Mother Talzin unique, and then Old Daka if you want to invest that extra Zeta. And then you can always go back and do Mother Talzin's lead too as well if you want to ever go back to that. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid.
Gear 13, not Zetas, my friend. Are you playing with the Apprentice? I swear to God, bring him over here. You need to be choked.
I thought I heard Zeta list.
No, Nathaniel Morgan says, question, Gear 13 order for Night Sisters.
Okay, so I'd go Daka, Asajj, Zombie, Spirit, and Talzin. Because Talzin's already going to gain the turn meter, and then majority of it's like health steal and like the health stacking. Like Asajj and Daka are going to stack. Daka's going to stack the health for one from Gear 13. We've seen a lot of film from that already. And then Asajj, she's not only going to stack her health up too, but she's going to ramp her damage up even more too as well. So I think that's a pretty big caveat. And then having Zombie go as much as possible, like she's one of those tanks that you mod for speed, right? So having her go as much as possible to keep her taunt up is important. And then Spirit, you mod her for speed as well, but you're also modding her for offense, and she's getting the health steal from the Gear 13 finisher, or the Gear 12 finisher too. Mother Talzin, I haven't looked at her Gear 13 or Gear 12 finisher piece, but if it adds more potency, that's even more of a plus for that too as well. So I think that the whole team flourishes very well off of Gear 13 for sure.
All right.
Would you advocate, if you haven't Zated Mother Talon, to do that at the same time if you're taking it to 13?
Yeah, I would finish the Zetas. Like me, for example, I've done the 2 on both the leaders, but I haven't done DACA yet. And it's always been a Zeta that I've wanted to do, but it wasn't a must-have, right? Like it was a plus Zeta. But now with Gear 13, it's like I feel like that team's definitely, must-have those 4 Zetas aside from Mother Talzin's lead. I did both leads for Grand Arena, Territory Wars, and then you also have the Deathstorm team too. I also flirted with that team a little bit here and there too as well. So I mean, you kind of need the DACA Zeta for that team too as well, though. So that's where I just kind of leaned away from giving her that Zeta, because that was the only reason I could find really giving it to her, other than for defense or anything like that. So Gear 13 again, it really changes that. I mean, if you haven't seen the film already, her health can get over 500,000, and I'm sure with the right mods you can go even higher than that too. So that's a lot of help.
All right. Next question back up top. Let's see, back to Warrior from Hadril Jetberg again. Question, at 1.6 million GP, I need another squad for GAC defense. I'm currently still running Phoenix on D. What gear level would a bug squad be viable as a replacement for the Phoenix squad?
Good question. And what was his GP?
1.6 million.
No, he's right where I'm at. So I actually, on that account, prefer to use my bugs on offense. One for the, so both of the accounts I use them differently. I use bugs on defense right now on my main account, but on my alt account I use them for offense. For my main account, I'm struggling to get wins. The guy I'm going against has 600 but plus 15 speed mod, and I have 200. So basically every character he has like 30 to 50 speed higher than mine. That's the reality of my main account, so that's fun. So my alt account is actually more fun. I actually enjoy Grand Arena in that account more, and so I'm trying to get the feats and stuff more in my sister man account, because the feats actually matter since I'm winning. So I'm using the bugs on offense for the feat of the separatist attacks and stuff. My leader, I started using him when he was Gear 7 on offense. The first Grand Arena, when I had him, after the very first Grand Arena after he came out, I had only my GBA at Gear 4-star or 5-star. I think it was 4-star, Gear 7, and he was totally viable at that. Just for the record, when he's maxed out at Gear 13, he's like 170,000 health protection. The guy is super tanky, and the equalization of the bugs for health and protection keeps them all alive. So be careful if you use them on offense not to go against teams that do massive burst damage. The burst damage can get through, like don't go against the CLS team, because they can sometimes burst through and kill a bug before the equalization occurs, and you'll lose out on a character. But I've taken the GBA plus 3 Gear 11s and done an undersized squad, just the 4 of them, just the 3. No, I didn't use Poggle when GBA first came out, because Poggle was on my account at the time, just level 1 Gear 1 kind of thing. Since the rework of Poggle, which was last week, I have since moved Poggle up to Gear 7, 5-star Gear 7, level 85. So I'm now going to start using Poggle, but undersized squad with only 4 of them, 3 of them at Gear 11, 1 at Gear 7, and I was able to very successfully beat Gear 11 in 12 teams with it. It's very, very powerful. Spy is really the MVP though. If you use Spy correctly, especially now after the reworks, you can do some massive damage. I was very consistently one-shotting characters in Grand Arena with Spy, both before and after the rework, where he's hitting for, my Spy, Gear 11 Spy with OK mods for 120,000. I mean, he is almost like a nihilist now. So.
All right. So if you're going to keep the Geos for defense, what would be a team then that you might recommend him to use for defense? Because it looks like he's missing if you're going to have the bugs for offense, do you think there's anything he could work on besides the bugs that he could replace Phoenix
Well,
with
I don't know how
eventually?
big his-
I know,
how big
just
his,
general. Yeah, I know. You know.
Phoenix is, but so for me, because I follow for the most part, I follow my pillar system. Using this is kind of how I look at it. Find your A team. That's your arena team, right? Find your A team. Make that your first offensive team. You got to have that on offense, right? Then find your very next two best teams. That's your B team and your C team. For me, it's Bounty Hunters with a boss lead and my Imperial Troopers with Mission and Zalbar. I know that's weird, but it works really well because Mission and Zalbar allow for my 3 Imperial Troopers to ramp up and start doing what they do best, which is damage and the regeneration of protection and retribution and all the other fun stuff. So those are my B and C teams, right? The next 2 in line, it goes my number 1 team is on offense. My next 2 teams that are the best are my frontline defenses. And then my next 2 teams below them are my next 2 offensive teams. And then my last 2 teams go on defense. And then my very, very last team is trash on offense. So I kind of prioritize my number 1 best team on offense, my next 2 teams on defense, my next 2 teams on offense, and so on and so forth, to try to give myself a chance to cut through. But I also look at everyone I fight to see whether they have a character or not. I have since just recently gotten Revan. This is the first Grand Arena with Revan, and I've been able to set Revan on defense. The last time, the guy didn't even attack me because he didn't have a Revan. And then this battle again, I have Revan, he does not, so I'm setting Revan on defense again. So it's just one of those things. You got to decide on what you have available, but whatever teams you have available, whatever your number 2 and number 3 team are, those should be on the front line of defense for sure. But keep your A team so you can beat something, so you can get some feats, so you can win, or potentially win, and so you can actually get through some of the battles that you have to get through. Because a lot of times people cheese the back, and you only have 4 battles to do.
Yeah.
1.6 minutes. So if you can get through that front, one that they have, then you can. If he has Wampa, insanely amazing. A Gear 9 Wampa is what I have. 5-star Gear 9 Wampa with maxed out abilities, and my 5-star Gear 9 Wampa is taking out Gear 10 Phoenix teams. Surprisingly, all by his lonesome. So, you think about what it is that what you're going after, and what you have in your availability. If you have Nest or whatever, that would be cool too. I don't have Nest, so.
All right. See, next question will go to Mikey, and it says, from Who !3 says, question, last year I took my CLS, Han, Chewie, and C-3PO against First Order, and I timed out against Kylo Ren Mask. He just kept getting health and protection. Was that a bug or crew mechanic? Oh, Mikey, yes, we know what this is. Go ahead.
The Nest one?
No, crew. Not Nest, crew. So it's CLS, Han, Chewie, and 3PO versus crew, where they get into that infinite loop and you can't kill them.
I haven't experienced that.
You were there when I did it on when I took CLS against crew that one time in GAC. Remember, we went in there with 3PO and R2, and we're like...
No, I thought that was Nest that we got lost.
Well, Nest, you can do that too, but it's crew too.
Okay. Yeah.
It's their mechanic, it's not a bug.
The problem there is that you've got CLS and Han are both taking away turn meter constantly, which means they don't get a go, and their mechanics are that they don't take damage at the same rate. So they, it's like Warrior was saying earlier. If you take Geos against the Padme squad, they're going to finish stronger than they start, and that's what you're locked into. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that you learn and try and really try not to get caught up in it.
Yeah, the debuffs gets their health and protection back. It's one of those things. It's one of those. It's just one of those loops. So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, my recommendation: don't. Yeah. If it's crew as well, then just have somewhere next to your phone every time you go into GAC or TW. Do not use CLS Han against these two.
No, you know, and especially with 3PO and R2, because they're constantly debuffing and doing stuff, and it just makes it worse. You know, so where you're just not going to kill them. I actually timed out, and I was like, well, damn. I guess I'll just use JTR against this from now on. You know?
Yeah, that's another time then when your phone needs protection, because it's like you're so angry with yourself for doing it. It's like, no.
Yeah, why?
It's even worse when you do it the second time. Trust
I know,
me.
right? You're like, didn't I learn this mistake? What am I doing?
Hang on, wait. When did Ness turn up in this squad? What?
Yes, indeed. All right. Next question for Xylo. Fat Tony 99 says, question: who do I run on my Darth Revan team for Phase 4 of GOTB? I had to platoon my Gear 13 Malik and my Marauder and Assassin are not geared up yet.
Wait, so what do you have to deploy? Darth Revan and Darth Malik, right?
No, question. Who do I run on my Darth Revan team for Phase 4 of GOTB? He had to platoon his Gear 13 Malik, and he said his Marauder and Assassin are not geared up yet.
Well, you got Fallen Bastila in there already, so I mean, like, that's the majority.
HK is there, yeah, just run a tank or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can easily sub in, like, an Autoton or two, like Crew. He's, like, a free-to-play Malik. I mean, he takes the damage the same way, like, your damage is, like, not effective.
We can't hear you, Xylo.
I was saying, like, Crew would be a great Autotoner for him. And then he can also, you know, apply stun, his 2-turn unresistible stun, and then he has just as much survivability as Malik almost. I mean, yeah, he doesn't get the Sith Empire synergy, but I mean, again, it's kind of like a free-to-play Malik, right? So I think an auto taunter and then maybe your Sass, even if your Sass is like lower geared, at least Sith Assassin has some Sith Empire synergy, so she'll benefit off of Darth Revan lead, and she can still help with debuffing and stunning too as well.
All right. Let's see. Next question. Back up top to Running with Scissorman Warrior. Let's see here. From Sir Boss 73, question: what is the best team to take against a 4 Zeta Phoenix team without Ezra?
I use on my main accounts, because that's a super overpowered team, but I use on my main account Rex and Wampa. That's it. Just Rex or Wampa. I use Rex. He does die. I do lose Rex, but you make up for it with the undersized squad, so I still get 61 or 62 points most of the time, minimum, even if Rex dies. But Rex is there just long enough to let Wampa ramp up, because you got to kill Zeb, and so you can use Rex's special on Zeb, and then use Wampa to daze everybody, and then go after Zeb. Once Zeb is dead, it's full auto, and you win, guaranteed. Zeb is the only character in that lineup that you got to worry about, because he can daze your character, which means they can just mollywop your character into oblivion. And plus, he can also take a daze to a stun. And once your guy gets stunned, you're screwed. So it can potentially happen if you take in Wampa all by himself, because it just happens. If you don't have a highly tenacious Wampa, because you focused on damage dealing, then all of a sudden he gets stunned, and you're just like, oh no, don't do this. So you've got to have that exit strategy, which is where Rex comes in. Rex can have that cleanse. I've also seen people who didn't have Rex leveled up. They had like Turret and Baze. They've used Wampa, Turret, and Baze. Turret and Baze are almost impossible to kill with the Phoenix. There's enough durability there. There's enough Dispel with Baze that you can keep targeting who you want to target. And then the health up over time. Make sure you always get at least your minimum health points. Even if you lose a little protection on Baze. But I prefer not using a turret base combo. I prefer using just Rex. And then, of course, a lot of times I do lose Rex if they're like 3 or 4 Zetas deep. Sometimes they've got that many Zetas. And so if that's the case, then there's a good chance you'll lose your Rex. But by himself, unless you've got 150% tenacity, I would not attempt it with just Wampa all by his lonesome.
All right. Let's see here. Next question for you, Mikey, from Nathaniel Morgan. Question: when you fight Negotiator in the territory battle, there's no Anakin or Ahsoka. Does this mean that the full GR fleet would be too strong for us to beat, or do they just not want us to see it in its full glory?
Unfortunately, I keep missing it. It's 3-star before. I'll actually get to go in ships today. I would say the first one. Yes, it's too OP. I mean, can you imagine Ahsoka comes in and you're like, well, there goes Houndstooth.
Then Anakin comes in and it's like, well, there goes the rest of my team with that AoE.
That's it. There goes Houndstooth. Oh, there goes my other ship. Okay. And there goes my phone again. Yay. Let's go run and see whoever the screen broke this time. Yeah, I think it's far too OP. I mean, they've thrown us a bone on there that basically Houndstooth wins. I went in today on my alt account. My alt's just literally just clocked over 3 million GP, but does have a Gear 12 Bosk and a 7-star Houndstooth, and that's all you need. Seriously, that is all you need. You just wait it out with Chimera, do that one hit KO that Chimera has, and then just wait for the next. That's it. But if Ahsoka was in there, I think that yeah, we would lose our hound. Yeah, either. I mean, and putting the two together, yeah, they're just way too OP. Was it level 95 or 98? Is it?
I don't remember, but it's awful.
Whatever it is way higher than we are, and yeah, it would just be a lesson in abject misery. It would put modding to shame, Ranger.
Oh Lord! All right, let's see. Next question for Xylo from Nathaniel Morgan. He says, question, what is the furthest you've seen someone get in the Dooku mission? I assume Gear 13 Zuka required.
No, I mean, I've seen Gear 12, but like a lot of protection primaries, like protection arrows, protection cross, protection triangles, protection secondaries. It's not that hard to get him that fast either, but he had the Zeta too as well, so I really think the Zeta's big there. Because other than his Zeta, that's the only way. He has no other health or protection regain. So giving him that Zeta and then gearing him up that much more to give him that health steal from those Gear 12 pieces is huge. So he's a high investment. I mean, like right now, personally myself, I have halfway to Gear 12, and he's still really squishy at that level. Not even a combined 40,000 health and protection. So. He leaves you a lot to want, but I mean, once you get the gear on him, that's where you really notice the difference. So.
Yeah. The Gear 11's gonna get you dead.
Real cool.
I don't know. Some people have completed an MC3. I don't remember their names, but they had a high level Dooku, modded out and everything. I should have remembered who did that. So,
I wonder if Mandalore did it.
Is this the 2-man squad
you're
talking about?
Yeah,
I did it.
Yeah, they had high level like Gear 12 or 13 Dooku.
I did mine with Gear 12s. My Dooku doesn't have a Zeta.
Yeah,
I completed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've uploaded it or not, but
doesn't he have a mission on day 4 too, though?
Yeah, that's why I was querying. Really is it the 2-man or is it the 4-man?
I still think you're gonna need it short term and long term. You know what I mean? Like they want you to invest in all the separatists. Like they want you to invest in IG 1000 and B2, and you know what I mean. Like for new gun rate for day 1, and you know what I mean. Like Dooku and Asajj the last 2 days.
No, he's saying the P4 Dooku mission. There we are.
Okay.
Oh yeah. You definitely need to go all in on that one. And then still, like you've seen, just because you have the gear and the Zetas doesn't mean you can beat it. You need the RNG or the right strategy. Basically, we still don't know what that strategy is. So
pretty much. All right. Next question up top to Scissorman Warrior from Nathaniel Morgan again. He says, question. When they include ships in GAC, will they only count our top 14 ships and top 2 capital ships, one team for offense and defense? Would this be balanced matchmaking when combined with characters?
So this was one of the things that I brought up to them a long time ago and said it was just super unfair because you're just de-incentivizing people who had larger rosters. And this was true. Everyone knew this, that, you know, if you were the collect them all Pokemon guy that collected all the characters, but you had a lot of them at Gear 8, but you liked to just get them 7 stars and stuff, you were punished for that because that fluffed your roster. And so people learned that you couldn't fluff your roster. In addition, territory battles requires you to fluff your roster and get 7-star characters unnecessarily so you can platoon them, and you need more viable teams and stuff. So it was a paradox of great proportions that they had, and they understood that. And so they wanted to create a system where everyone can fluff the roster as much as you want, and only the characters that matter in Grand Arena are going to be utilized against you. And so when they do launch ships, if they launch ships, it seems like that's not what they're willing to do right now. It's weird. We used to rotate them, and now they haven't rotated them at all. I think they're going to do the same thing. They're going to take your top viability, you know, your top potential 7 plus a capital ship, 7 plus a capital ship, and say your top 2 capital ships, your top 14 ships, those are the top 14 ships that are going to count against you, and the rest won't count. It's only fair if they're doing that for characters that they do that for ships as well. I personally love the new Grand Arena, how they're pairing people up. I think the community is coming out of a situation where there was bad pairing, and so it's like they get tons of terrible pairs, and they're like, this isn't fair, and they've been so conditioned to say everything sucks and everything is bad that they don't actually acknowledge or recognize how amazing and ingenious this new system is, which is, by the way, a system I had, not the only one, but many people, including myself, have been asking for, is a fair-based system. I even have a friend, SureShot, who's on my live stream and not saying how, you know, this is a super unfair system, because he's seeing a guy that he's got 150,000 more GP than him, and he's kind of a lower GP level. But what he doesn't understand, and what a lot of people aren't understanding, is they're taking the top portion only of your roster, just your best of your best, and it versus the other person's best of your best. And if you do that, you're actually almost identical. And these people who are complaining, it's funny, I see it on Reddit, I see it on Facebook, they're like, it sucks, I got totally paired against a guy with 600,000 more GP. I won, but still, it wasn't fair. And it's like, stop. You won. And you won because you were paired against somebody whose top roster was as equal to your top roster as it could possibly be. Do they have more fluff and trash? Yes. Do they have more teams that they could possibly throw in? Maybe. But at the low level, at those lower levels, those characters aren't even usable for most of that fluff. So it's as fair as a system I think can be, possibly, because the only other unfair aspect now at this point is just Zeta counts and mods, and you know, you can't, Zetas ultimately go into your GP. They fluff your GP heavily, so your top, if you have more Zetas, you're gonna get higher GP paired against people with higher GP. So they're either gonna have better gear or more mods also, or better gear or more Zetas also, and mods. And ultimately, mods are random, so you can't really fix that. I mean, you can farm from all you want, you can slice them, you can take them to 60, but at the end of the day, kind of, they've screwed mods up now, so nothing drops quality. I mean, it's lightning striking to see someone get something over 20 plus speed. And so at this point, it's genuinely luck for mods. Back in the day when mods first came out, it wasn't nearly as bad. You could get a few good mods, you know, and everybody who focused on them really, really heavily has the, you know, super heavy, you know, good counts of mods. So I like the new distribution of how they're looking at your thing. They're not punishing you for your low end crap roster or all your ships getting unlocked just to unlock them. And I hope they pair what they're doing with regular to what they're going to do with ships, hopefully.
All right. Good question. Next question for Mr. Mikey. Let's see here. Luke Thyrocker has a question. Mikey says, question. I need to know how to beat Geos. Last round, I set my Gear 11 Geos with unmodded Brood Gear 9 and got 4 defenses. I don't want to feel that pain. Mikey, what can you tell old Luke Thyrocker there?
How are your Jawas?
Stop it.
Okay. Well, they are, as we all know, they potentially can be a semi-cheese defense, or sort of defense counter to it. Otherwise, I think the best option is Jedi, not Jedi, yeah. Ray Jedi training Ray, whatever,
Yeah.
JTR, whatever. I'm getting confused between the yeah. But her BB-8, Amy Lynn Holdo. I always struggle.
Actually, you know what? I just remember that yesterday in GAC we did not go on undersized Padme because I had to go do Darth Revan. Right? So we used the Padme team to clear Revan. And then we used JTR with Holdo yesterday. I just remember that. I don't remember why we forgot that, but yes.
Yeah,
continue.
You're right. Yeah.
And Scavray can be completely OP in that, because once you get exposed and Scavray, I'm going to quote Warrior now, mollywops one of those Geos.
No, that's Urban Blaster.
They know they've been mollywopped. I'll tell you that. So basically with that, you go first, you focus down, you take out Brood Alpha, and then you wonder what all the fuss was about.
Yeah, because I went in with the team that I usually run in with, Holdo 2, and the AoE days was super epic, and then Scav Ray just beat those bugs to death. I mean, it was nasty. I mean, oh my god.
So the thing there is, think about it. If you've got First Order in the front, what's lurking behind? Because what's the go-to squad for First Order? So now we're going to have to start thinking about how we're going to take out First Order without running our resistance. Because if they're there, they're going to be hidden in the back.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next question for Xylo Takedown. Let me see here. John Davis says, question, do you still need droids to get a 7-star Padme?
Well, I think all of us here probably use something a little bit different, right? Comp wise. I mean, the first go around for newer events, I mean, the builds, they change, and like a good example would be like the BB-8 event, right? Like we didn't have crew, and then crew made that event so much simpler, right? So for this, I'd say your new gunray lead definitely is a big plus, because you're not only going to outspeed them, but his unique, doing all that extra damage, and the AI confusing them with extortion and everything like that, and profit. So new gunray. The solid pieces around Newt Gunray, I would say, are B2, Magna Guard, and then Dooku. You get a lot of stuns, a lot of synergy between Magna Guard and B2 with General Grievous, right? And then you're really relying on the stuns, the shocks. Dooku is a way better character now for that event, especially after the rework. I mean, even before his stun on basic and his special is huge against that Galactic Republic team, and now it's a guaranteed stun if it's a Galactic Republic enemy. And the fact that they dispel all the buffs on them when they use the extortion buff from New Gunray, dispels all their buffs on them too as well. So it's basically a way to open them up for whatever, just spamming the debuffs from the droids, and then IG 100 is there to dispel and hit the target locks, and also dispel too as well. So he's way more useful now that he's gotten that big protection boost that a lot of the majority of the characters, day one characters and stuff like that, got a few weeks back. So I think those core 5 right there, those would get you the Padme event 7 stars and make it feel like it was a lot less frustrating than the last go around. So
all right,
I'd be really interested to see just how much damage Geospy could do, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, Geospy was hitting like 150k before the rework and the first event, right? So now the Geos are kind of a bit different. I still think Sunfac's also a good piece, or Spy is also still a good piece for that too as well. Like you could definitely substitute for any of those 5 that I mentioned before, except for Grievous and B2, right? So.
All right, next question. Back up top to Scissorman Warrior. From Gav P. He says, question, for the Padme event, I heard Droideka made it easy. I've got GG Gear 12 Zeta, all Separatists at 7 stars, Gear 11 except Newt, Brood Alpha, and Magna, and B1. What team composition is the best with what I've got?
Well, you don't want to use any Geos, so drop the Brood Alpha. So, what are all the Separatists that are available? Newt.
Yeah, so
said Newt.
See,
and Droideka.
See, GG Gear 12 and Zeta. All the Separatists are Gear 11 except Newt. Let's see, Magna and B1.
Well, okay, B1 doesn't matter, but B2 is. I mean, if you're using GG, you're going to want B2. You're going to want Droideka. You're going to want Magna, and they don't actually have to be super high. Like I already said earlier on the stream, take your Gear 12 GG to Gear 13. Focus on that. If you do that and nothing else, you'll probably win. But take him to Gear 13 and then put 5 other 7 stars. Newt isn't necessary, especially if you take the Gear 13. Actually, your team doesn't matter. Gear 13, General Grievous matters. That's it. Everything else doesn't really matter. So throw in 4 other 7 stars that are relatively high gear. The thing is, with an event, what's more important actually is whatever you're using for the event, investing in them. Pick the ones you want to use long term. Dooku you want to use long term. Newt you want to use long term. B2 you want to use long term. You know what I mean? Pick the Droideka. Pick the characters that after the event you're not regretting putting up a trash character just to do an event and never use them again. Pick characters that in the future you'll have viability for. Then you don't regret any bit of the gear that goes into them. But if you can't get their gear too high, don't worry about it. But don't do any Geos. Don't do B1. B1 doesn't matter. Geos don't matter because those are going to actually make the event harder, not easier. So I would just really focus on that General Grievous.
Yeah, and then you get a whole other level of damage with Grievous being Gear 13, and then like as long as he's got Metal and Monstrosity, like he's just gonna do a bunch of damage outputs. So I mean, he's falling around him don't really matter too much, especially after Gear 13. They're just gonna die from AoEs over and over again, really.
All right. Let's see here. Next question for Mikey. Mike. Let's see. What else? Any 3 question. When someone puts a CLS team on defense, what is the best couple teams non-Revan, and what would be the kill order for CLS, Han, Chewie, 3PO, R2 on the team?
Ooh.
I know my answer.
You see, I would go Mirror.
Yep.
That would be...
Kill Chewbacca, you win.
Yeah, there's... You need either a Mirror and just hope that you go first, or you can withstand their onslaught, or something seriously tanky. But even then, you know, the chances are AI is going to select your weakest toon, and it's going to get Han Chewied, and that's it. You're starting the battle so hampered or even down a toon that Mirror would be my choice there. It's
easy Mirror match.
It's easy Mirror match. Anything else and it's really tricky.
Yeah, it could be a little tricky. I mean, some teams can beat it.
Maybe Jawas.
No, stop it. Get out of here. All right. Hell, next question for Ranger. What will you be doing after the Jedi Academy show ends? Answer, headed over to the Escape Podcast Discord to listen to their weekly show. It's delayed this week. I did not know that. So, actually, I just got to pop up in Discord. So, there it is.
Yeah, that's strange. I was like, whoa, it's so early, too.
Well, like, wait a minute.
Usually do it later in the night on Friday, but I guess they had a schedule change or something. So.
Well, I'll go over there and make a big fuss and cause all kinds of pain and suffering. So for those guys. All right. Next question goes to Xylo. Well, it's for everybody. We'll start with you. Question: how many Gear 13 tunes does everyone have now?
I have 2. I have Darth Revan and I have Fallen Bastila. And then I should have Malik and Grievous done by this next show. So.
All right. I've got 3, working on Grievous for 4. Mikey?
I've got more than that. I'm about to do one, I believe. I'm gonna count 10.
Okay, Warrior, how many you got, roughly?
Shoot, I'd have to look. I don't know.
It's over 9,000. That's the correct response, Warrior. All right.
Yeah, it's 12 to 15. I don't know. Side note on Gear 13, somebody asked a question. Say, how is Han Solo and Chewie's ship at Gear 13?
How is Han Solo's ship in Chewie, or Han Solo and Chewie with the Millennium Falcon at Gear 13, Warrior?
Oh, hey, thanks for the question. I'm glad you asked.
You dick.
So I took those 2 guys up to Gear 13 because I used them on undersized squad for offense and Grand Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, it can't hurt to take them to Gear 13, a little extra damage, never hurt no one. And all of a sudden in ships, I started noticing I'm killing the Houndstooth before anyone ever brings in a reinforcement. And I'm winning before I'm even bringing a reinforcement in. I'm like, how is this possible? I wasn't putting 2 and 2 together for like a week. And finally, after like a week, I'm like, oh, it's Han Solo and Chewie affecting the ship. Their damage output is so much higher now. It literally, I can target the Houndstooth right off the bat. Do when my ship does its first ability, that triple attack where it calls in 2. If it calls in Millennium Falcon, which, it's a 50-50 chance basically between it or Houndstooth, it's a death guaranteed. Boom, done. It's just over, and Houndstooth's gone. And then I'm targeting their other ship and then their Millennium Falcon, and I either win without a reinforcement or I bring in 1 reinforcement and win after that. It's massive damage increase as far as like penetration and damage output. It's crazy. Houndstooth is a thing of the past for sure with Gear 13.
All right. All right, next question. Let's try to get through all these. Let's see. I forgot where I was. Warrior, from What Else 73, Warrior, question: is the Omega Crunch back, and is it better or worse than a year ago this time?
Say that question again.
Is the Omega Crunch back, and is it better or worse than a year ago this time?
The Omega Crunch for most people is back, and I would say that it's worse for a lot of people because now there are so many viable teams that in the past you would pick a couple, like the 2-3 top teams, and those are the ones you'd focus on. Now it's difficult because you've got there's so many teams that have become retroactively viable through like 1 character placement. So I think it's tougher than ever. But I've got like 300 backup on my main account, and I'm not using them. So for me personally, it's not an issue, but I know for most it is.
Okay. Next question for Mikey, Remy Vinay. Question: with Malik and Darth Revan in platoons, what non-separatist team do you have success with in GOTB?
What non-separatist teams? There's one separatist in them, Night Sisters. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Triumvirate.
Yes.
Triumvirate, slight caveat, up to phase 4. I'm thinking Triumvirate in phase 4. I haven't got. Well, has anyone? I don't know how many people have managed to complete all 4 phases of a phase 4 battle. But yeah, Triumvirate are fantastic. I've been singing Treya's praises for ages.
Well, yeah, with the isolate and the assassin, the assassinate, those 2 things can really lock down the teams.
And if you can, you have to be careful on who it is, but if you can save Nihilus' Annihilate at the end of the round, you can then go straight in and assassinate one of their key tunes on the next wave, which is invaluable. I mean, I can't think of anyone else that can remove one of their tunes at the start of a battle.
Yeah.
All we tend to do is scratch them, if that. We annoy them and they kill us, basically.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, Triumvirate is amazing.
All right. Next question for Xylo. We kind of talked about this. Dark Science 72 had a question. He says, anyone else experiences Omega shortage, have tons of Zetas, but not Omegas? We kind of talked. We just hit on that. So, Alexandru Gross is your question. Xylo question. Should I buy Omegas and not Zetas out of the Ship Arena store? I have almost 100 Zeta mats. I have no Omegas. Plus, I need at least 100 Megas for other abilities than Zetas. What do you think?
No, like you'll get, like today, for example, like the challenges from the Mace Windu event or whatever from your daily challenges. Like I got the 3 Omegas today. I don't always get 3, but I mean, like there's other ways in game where you'll accumulate them to round up your Zetas, right? Like, so what I like to do is I like to take 10 Omegas and I'll put them where I want to put them in between when I'm doing my Zetas, and then I'll naturally accumulate them by the time I get my next Zeta, right? So that way it just shows you how quickly, I mean, like you can get the Zetas that you need, or I mean the Omegas that you need for your Zeta materials, you know, within the span of 2 to 3 days, depending on, you know, events and Grand Arena, Territory Wars, Grand Arena Championships.
You get one daily.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there's so
farming Brood Alpha shards.
Yeah.
No, get out of here! Stop it.
Depending what else you farm, I got 2 from farming.
I haven't got dick. Stop it.
I got 2, and I still haven't finished Brood Alpha yet. Like he's like 50.
I've gotten 0.
You know, he's
all those
100,
damn crystals or something.
Yeah. The first couple of days I was spending 2 of the 200 refreshes too, man. I know how it is, but now I'm going to farm Shock T. Forget everything else.
Well, all right. Next question for Warrior Sith Lord 72 for the panel, but we'll start with you, Warrior. Do you think we will get a level cap increase? If so, when and what level do you think will be the new maximum?
I talked to them about this a long time ago, and they said that kind of what they've said in the past and what's happening now is different. So
True.
I think in the past how they controlled the power creep was through the level. So they would go like, you know, to level 70, level 75, level 80, 85, and then they were going to go 90. The problem was they introduced Gear 12, I think, a little earlier than their slated plan was. The reason why I say I think it was earlier was because they had mentioned a few years back to me that they did plan on eventually getting to level 100. That, you know, level 90, 95, and 100 were 3 more rollouts that are going to be basically just credit crunches that just, you know, suck all the credits out of everybody, especially the like whales, krakens, all of that. In addition to that, all your stats go up for every level. The problem is that's exponential growth. And with Gear 12 and now the introduction of Gear 13, which, by the way, Gear 13 was something that they told us that they were never going to do. They told us originally when we were visiting and whatnot, we're like, you know, how high is it going to go? Gear, 20 or whatever. And they kind of laughed it off and said, no, Gear 12 will be our pinnacle. It will be like our top of the top, our biggest and greatest thing. That will be like what we end at is Gear 12. And this is before Gear 12 came out, a year before Gear 12 came out. So their thought, or at least what they communicated to us privately at the time, was the Gear 12 was kind of the ceiling. And so now Gear 13's here, and it's like, okay, so apparently they're wrong. They've decided to roll out further stuff. I believe because of Gear, they have had to, by force, stop with the leveling of levels, like of going from 85 to 90, 95, and 100, because the exponential growth that would occur at Gear 12 and even at Gear 13 is so god-awful power creep that it creates just this insane, the funny thing is the characters we go against in GOTB are level 95 and stuff, so 90 and 95. So I think they're probably until they figure out a way to kind of reduce the exponentiality of of the stats at the highest ends. There's got to be some sort of like a negative bell curve that they program in at the very end. Otherwise, you know, you're going to take a character that's gear 13 from level 85 to like 95, and you're going to have, I mean, like, again, the power creep is going to be on a whole other level. It's never even been experienced in this game. That it's super unhealthy. The you know, the massive power creeps. That's where balance comes in, and it's really hard to balance this. So I think they just put the things on hold. So to answer the question in the longest roundabout possible way I could is, no, I don't see them doing level cap increase anytime soon. When they do, eventually, I do see it eventually within the next 3 years, getting to level 100 and probably gear 15. And everybody will hit for like, you know, 500,000 when the game's getting near the end.
All right. See, next question from our Ouchie Dumpling. Hey, Ouchie. Go to you, Mike. What is the Phase 4 fleet battle? Question. Why is the Phase 4 fleet battle the easiest but worth the most points? I'm not complaining, but it's weird.
No idea. Yeah, I would say it's the bone that's thrown, because there's no way that you're gonna get 3 stars on it, because we just don't have the GP in ships to be able to hit that. So maybe it's like, okay, so let's give them that.
Yeah.
That's all I can think. It is yeah, that they're going ever so slightly easier on us on there.
All right.
And the other thing is just on that is that Gauntlet is really, it can be the MVP ship. I've seen a few videos earlier today of people that have donated Houndstooth and still finished, but you have to have Gauntlet in there just to keep everyone alive long enough.
All right. Next question.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Quick question. Did anyone know when CLS was coming back? Did they actually ever announce that?
I'm trying to remember if there was a...
I just saw it on my alt account. It's coming back in like 4 days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on my alt account coming back in 4 days. This is why I'm bringing it up. I'm playing on my alt right now. And everybody keeps asking me, when's it coming back? And I could find nothing on it and didn't know why it wasn't coming back. But so for everyone's edification, it's in 4 days and 15 hours. So
is the R2 event already here for this before the CLS event, or are they running that concurrently?
I'm pretty sure it's before. I think R2's in 2 days, and I'm pretty sure CLS is 4 days.
Okay, gotcha. Next question for Xylo from Utah. Question: do you think they will make the Galactic Bounties event come around more often?
Well, they did say that at first when they released it that they were going to do it a little more sporadically so that people would have a chance to complete it, but now it's just like your regular events. It's going to come just as casually as the other ones do, and they're going to try to cycle it in just like the rest of them, right?
All right.
I mean, that's about that.
Let's see. Next question. Back up to Warrior. Be more Fett. Question: do you think we will get any more new Separatist tunes, or is Wat Tambor it?
We're probably nearing the end of Separatists' run.
Yeah, I think we're going to the clones and the Jedis and stuff like that eventually, right? For Lightside TB? I think that's a better question. What do you think they're going to bring in for? Yeah,
Galactic Republic is what we'll see probably.
What do you think they're going to do if you had to guess, like for like Galactic Republic? What are you thinking?
Some of the reworks, like the Kit Fisto and some of the other characters we already have, will probably be touched up, and then they'll introduce 1 or 2 new characters in my thought.
All right. Last question, and then we'll let everybody put their stuff. From Utah, question, and we'll go to you, Mike. While it will be a while until people have Negotiator, could it be okay to add the 3 left pieces of Gear 12 on Akbar to help in my capital ship?
On Akbar? Yes. Yeah, I mean, after Warrior saying about the improvement on MILF, I would say, yeah. I mean, the chance. What are you going to do? You're going to add 1 speed? So effectively, if you succeed all of Akbar's mods and you take him to 13, you theoretically should have one of, if not the fastest capital ship on your shard.
All right.
Definitely go first all the time. Although I don't know whether that's actually a benefit. It depends. If you can absolutely mutter them, I suppose, like, if you can take out Houndstooth before they call a reinforcement in, it's no big. But if it's an evenish battle, then they're getting to cleanse and everything that you do. Yeah. Speed wins. Yes, do it. Oh, I don't know.
Do it.
I would say do it, but it galls me having to. Well, I just refuse to. I will lose in ships rather than slap Gear 12 pieces on the Bistan.
All right, that is all the time for questions we have for today. With that being said, we're going to let everybody pimp their stuff. And we're going to start with our man, Scissorman Warrior. Warrior, you got a lot of stuff going on. Tell the folks where they can check you out at.
Well, Warrior Presents and Warriors Roster Reviews on YouTube. And, you can check me out there on Saturday mornings and also on Twitter.
Outstanding. And if you guys haven't checked out Warrior Scissorman stuff, you really need to. It is fantastic stuff. Michael W. Huntington III, where can folks check you out at?
Sorry, I've just seen a comment about Hans Millennium Falcon. I have a YouTube channel. It's Mike Hunt SWGOH. Got a fair bit on there at the moment. I've got most of my Grand Arena Championship round, featuring bugs and also a demonstration of why you do not put Ewoks on defense. So I start off with my Ewoks taking out a calf squad, and then I take in, was it Kira and Nest, and absolutely demolish their Ewok squad on defense. So the pros and cons of that. So there's that. I've got my Acklay and Tambor missions. There's quite a bit on there. Unfortunately, you're probably better off not being notified when I release videos, because I tend to put out a lot and then just dip in and out as and when. I try and playlist everything, so hopefully there's something on there that will be of interest. And thank you very much for having me.
All right. Xylo, where can folks check you out at?
Yeah, check me out on YouTube, Takedown Games, Grand Arena Championships on the alt main, and then uploading TV film too as well. Wanted to live stream more of the TV, but real life comes first, the scheduling and stuff like that too. A lot of film, did like 12 video and streams combined in the last like 15 days, and then still have some more film to upload and edit. So yeah, just trying to stay on top of the ball and trying to keep the content coming. So come subscribe. On my way to 1,000 by the end of the year. Really appreciate the subscription, and thank you for all your support, RSG.
All right. And if you're watching this, you're watching Reality Cube Gamers. We do this every Saturday from 10 to about this time when we get done. So thank you guys for being here and watching with us. Make sure you do me a favor. Give us a thumbs up on the video. Stop what you're doing right now. Give us a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe if you haven't. And do me a favor, check out these other channels. Make sure you're supporting these guys as well, because they come here on a Saturday to come answer your questions, and at least go watch some of the videos, subscribe, give them a thumbs up, support these guys as well. It's all a community. We want to support one another, so please do that for me. If we didn't get any of your question, that's okay. We have a Discord. You can come into our Discord. Have an awesome that you can come and put your questions in. Great group of people. If you have questions that you want to ask us, send me a question. I'll be more than glad to and read it for you. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody that's in the chat. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting us. I'll probably be back today, possibly to do some more mini Ross reviews and hang out with you guys. And then tonight we should be doing Pictionary, so that's always fun. I know Mrs. Xylo Takedown loves her Pictionary at night with us at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So we'll be back tonight. Probably I'll do some mini Ross reviews for you guys and stuff. So we'll have fun. I know should be streaming tonight. His GAC. So a lot of good content out there for everybody to check out and watch. So there we go. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a great rest of your day. So on behalf of myself and the Jedi Academy, take care, and we'll see you later. Peace out.